Congratulations! You took the time to invest in yourself and in your career. I want to walk you through the Get Noticed at Work checklist and help you get the most out of it. But first, let me tell you a little bit about myself and why you might want to even listen to me. My name is Gwen Chappell. I'm an executive coach and a career development specialist. I help professional women get clear about their goals in life and in their career, and then help them design the kind of life that's going to lead them to the type of success that's meaningful to them. My passion is helping other people, and well, all people really, including myself, discover their passion and develop their gifts, gain confidence, and contribute to the world in their unique way, using their unique gifts and abilities. Now, it's hard to contribute if you're not acknowledged and noticed and affirmed. And it's especially difficult to get noticed if you're soft-spoken and quiet. You might tend to be an introvert, or you tend not to take the spotlight. So it's more difficult to get the kind of attention that you want to get. You might tend to be overlooked. Now, you want to get noticed, but you want to get noticed in the right way for the right things, for your accomplishments and your achievements. And you want to get recognized for things that are important to you, not for things that you don't really care that much about. So let's get started getting you noticed at work. So step one is what I call center work or groundwork. This is where you go in, you learn what you really want. So you want to create a really powerful vision for yourself, what's important to you, what's going to bring meaning and purpose to your life. So in this context, it's important, what's important to you is about getting noticed at work. So number one, why do you want to get noticed? What do you hope to accomplish? What do you hope will happen if you do get noticed? So you want to spend a few minutes with this and just kind of think about what would be the ideal outcome. What are you really looking for? Another question to consider in this step is, what do you want to get noticed for? It goes without saying that you want to get noticed for the right things, your accomplishments, your contributions, your positive attributes, maybe your leadership, your teamwork ability, those positive things. So you want to think about what you want to get known for specifically. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about skills in step two, but it's important first to set your intention related to your values and your ideal outcome. Another question to consider, is this the right time for me to get noticed? If you get noticed, are you actually looking for a promotion? And if you're looking for the promotion, are you ready for that increased responsibility? Can you take on that workload? Are you physically, emotionally, and socially prepared to handle that extra workload? Are you prepared for the transition from being a colleague and a peer to being a supervisor? That transition takes a little bit of time. Now, it's also, you might want to consider your life balance right now. Do you have the time and the energy to take on a challenge right now? So it's for women, having children can be one of those cases where it can be kind of challenging to balance the needs of small children and still manage a demanding role at work. Now, some people do it beautifully, and some people love to do it and can't wait to do it. And then some people find that when they have children arise, they are torn. They might not have as much sleep. They might find themselves exhausted. They might find themselves getting coming down with a lot of colds and that sort of thing. So it's kind of sad that right now the women's prime childbearing and child raising years coincide with the traditional model of career building. But maybe as women step into more leadership roles, maybe we'll realize that there's plenty of time for women who are a little bit older to step into leadership roles, so that women in their 40s and 50s and 60s still have time to move in to some of the roles stepping into some of those leadership roles. And that unconscious social bias is the center of much discussion in social groups and masterminds, and it's a large part of developing career confidence. Now, all right, another question, final question in this first step one. Is this the right place for me right now? So is this the right career for me right now, the right industry, the right organization? If it's not the right career, industry, organization, what can I take away from this situation? What can I learn right now? Is this the right organization in the sense, do my values align with this organization? Is the culture a good fit? Is this a place where I'd want to move up? Do I want to make this my home? Is it possible to move up in this organization? What kind of upward mobility opportunities are available? And how might I create some of those opportunities if they're not there right now? And if you can't create upward mobility opportunities, you might be able to create learning opportunities or experience activities. So that's the end of step one. Step two is the preparation stage. And this is where you prepare your skills and abilities. And it's also when you start considering what kinds of allies and connections do I need? And do I already have what kinds of allies and connections do I need to start to develop in order to move forward? And how would I even know if I have the right connections? Now, it's wonderful if you can get a mentor within the organization or within the profession who can help you, can help guide you, can help give you insight into some of the ins and outs of the challenges that you might be facing. So if you have a chance to get a mentor or to be a mentor, grab it. It's a wonderful opportunity. Another question you might have is, do you have the skills to create those kind of deep, genuine connections, genuine friendships with creating mutual respect and goodwill? And that depends in part on your social skills and your emotional skills, and we'll be talking about that right away. So do I have the skills to get noticed in the way I want to get noticed? And I break these into three main categories. The emotional intelligence skills. These are skills that are related to the self and to others. So in the area of self, it's about self-management, self-awareness, emotional self-regulation, self-soothing, the resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks. So how aware am I? Do I inspire trust in myself? Do I trust myself to carry through for myself? And can I inspire trust in others? That's all part of like knowing who you are, what you want, and having those emotional skills. Social skills are the interpersonal skills, the social skills needed to form connections with others. So there's like listening, empathy, building rapport, offering feedback, summarizing, all these little skill sets that form a bigger part of the communication skills and social skills. The ability to be assertive and know what you want and to state it in a way that doesn't come across as aggressive. And these are all learnable skills. It can help if you have a assessment, something like the EQI, which helps you understand your current level of development, and it helps you evaluate your current emotional intelligence levels. And it can also help if you can get 360 assessments or interviews where others give a third person, not you directly, their insight into who you are and what your strengths are. And the reason you want to give it to somebody else instead of directly to yourself is that you get a less biased information. People tend, if they like you, they'll tend to be really nice and very supportive and maybe not give you the kind of accurate feedback that you really need to move forward. Next skill set is communication skills, and a lot of these overlap with social skills, so the basic listening skills and the ability to express yourself well as assertiveness skills and teamwork skills. So there is a lot of overlap between these and the social skills, but I put them in a separate area because there's There's also the aspect of writing well, presenting well, managing conflict with humor, all those kinds of things that overlap with social skills but are also a separate skill set. The third area that I think is important is performance. And I've called it high performance here because I think that most of the people I'm going to be talking to are interested in doing their very best, at least in the areas that are very important to them. So the skills related to high performance depends on your goal, your aspirations, how high you want to go. And it also is related to your your values and your ideal outcome. Now, of course, there's the technical skills, those skills that are specific to your field of expertise. And hopefully you will have got these skills related to your strengths. There's also critical thinking skills, the ability to evaluate the sources of information, establish the facts, analyze an argument, consider contradictory evidence and other perspectives, and to pull all these things together and come to a decision. And then to present that decision to somebody in a way that is persuasive for them. There's also management skills, managing time, projects, team, all those kinds of things. And leadership skills, which are, leading not just yourself, which is, I think, where we begin, but also learning to lead in or lead lead in is to lead yourself, but to lead across, which is to help your colleagues, or lead down, which is acting as a leader to the direct reports underneath us and inspiring others. And there's also the lead up, where the ways can you support the people above you. So the question is now, how can you demonstrate these skills and abilities? So we can do those. You can demonstrate those skills and abilities through a portfolio, a resume, by taking courses and completing the certificate, doing presentations, learning to identify and explain the return on investment on the kinds of work that you do. So that you learn to, if you can learn, or if you can find ways to quantify your accomplishments, that is a very persuasive way of providing evidence. Step 3, it's time to step into the spotlight. Now we've been setting the groundwork, getting clear on your outcome in step 1, and in step 2 we were talking about what skills you'll need and how you'll put it together and how you'll step up into the spotlight. So now we put it together, and we'll decide how you step up and how you want to step into the spotlight. And probably to begin with, just consider a small goal, a very small project, maybe just speaking up in a meeting, but some small way of stepping into the idea of getting noticed in the right way, in a way that's appropriate for you at this time. So what is your strategy? What is your plan to get noticed? You want to align your plan with your vision and draw on your strengths, that why of step 1. You want to be strategic in that you want to take action congruent with who you are and what you want and your goals. You want to create goodwill, contribute. If you are competitive, you want to compete in a way that doesn't alienate your competitors. If you are not the competitive type, you want to find a way to display your capabilities in a way that it feels congruent with who you are, and shows off your abilities and lets you get noticed for your contribution without really becoming overbearing. So you really want to cultivate that social influence. That going back to the social skills we were talking about in step 2. So this is the stage where you're developing your strategy. So when you are developing this strategy, you want to think about what are your opportunities? How can you identify those opportunities? How can you create those opportunities? You might want to volunteer for a project. You might notice some extra training. You might volunteer to take the lead in leading meetings or give a presentation. So you consider what might be a nice doable first goal for yourself. As you think about this, think about who your audience is. Who do you need to impress? In other words, if you want to impress your supervisor, that's upper level management. That's usually who we think of impressing. But don't forget that you want to include your colleagues in your direct reports. So you don't want to step on toes as you are impressing the people above you. And as always, you want to lead yourself first. So consider how you can make a good impression. What would impress these different people? What facts or figures or qualities, what attributes might they appreciate? And certainly the best way to find out those things is to exercise those social skills and those connections, developing those connections, and informally just interview people in just casual. It's a great way to have small talk, just to get a sense of what's going on at work for you. What kind of things what's your challenges these days? Or how do you like that aspect of your work? You might, by asking those kinds of things, just casual chatting, you might find opportunities where you can help somebody. Now, the other thing you might want to consider is what's the best way to impress them, and this ties back to those communication skills I was talking about in the step 2. So do you need to create a report, to do a presentation? Do they appreciate a written report? Do they want lots of graphics? Do they like charts? Maybe what they're looking for is more leadership skills or management skills. That kind of thing. So think about what would be valuable. So finally, what's your plan? Eventually, you will have a long-term career development plan. Sometimes those professional development plans are required by a professional association. But for your own personal use, you might want to take the initiative and develop your own plan. Keep it flexible, focus on an immediate goal, practice the whole idea of taking charge, becoming your own manager, your own your own CEO. Take small steps towards your big vision. Okay, that's it. That is the very quick walk through this. Of course, you can take a much deeper approach to it, and you can find out more information and anything. Let me just try that again. So that's a quick overview of the process. At some point, you'll probably want to consider each step of the question in detail. I mean, you could spend years going back, and in fact, it probably doesn't hurt to review this kind of process every once in a while. It might not come exactly in this format, but the idea of considering your goals and evaluating your skill set is not a bad thing to do from time to time over the years, maybe once a year or so. You can also run through the whole process really quickly if you just want to get a perspective on and some direction about handling a situation at work if something isn't going quite the way that you want it to go. So, as I said earlier, my passion is helping smart professional women thrive at home and work and discover their passion and really live into their gifts, gain the confidence and contribute and make the special thing that only you can do. If you want more information, you can visit my website at www.gwenchappell.com. It's up there on the screen. And until I hear from you again or send you some more information, all the best. Bye for now.